Welcome to Real Talk. It's your boy, Pastor Z, with your girl, Bishop T. We're here live and in color, and we are happy to be back as always. We're here every Thursday, 6:15. Have a great show lined up for you on today. Great show lined up for you on today. So we want you to just share. Come on in. Come on in. Several ways that you can tune in to this particular podcast or broadcast, whatever you decide to, or however you decide to say it. One way is by the conference call for those that cannot view it and that desire to still tune in and hear what we got going on tonight. You can dial into the conference call number at 1646 224 5980. That PIN number is 334-1986. Also, if you desire to join us by Facebook Live, you can go to Facebook and go to Real Talk with Pastor Z and Bishop T, or zt.realtalk on Facebook. And you can find our page there. Like our page and subscribe, if you will. We also have a YouTube channel that you can join us with. The show is aired there. You can comment and ask questions as well on the YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube, and there you can search for Real Talk with Pastor Z and Bishop T, or Real Talk .z.t, and you can catch us there. We have a Twitter page. Hit us up on Twitter and then catch some of the comments that we make ourselves on Twitter. Real Talk with Z and T at R Talk with Z _T. So welcome. And we want to say hello to all of you that are joining us. Hello, Miss Shannon Wyatt, Miss Marion Miller Johnson. Hello, how are you? Miss Katrina Davis. Hello, how are you? Miss Rosalind Smith. Miss Charlotte Kinney. Hello to all of you, and thank you all for joining Real Talk. Share with everyone. Hello, Bishop T. How are you?
Hello, Bishop, Pastor, one and the same. How are you? I am well.
I'm good. Have you ever seen the gentleman that hosts the show, Kapow? You ever seen their broadcast?
Not a whole show, but I have tuned in a little bit to a couple.
Well, they gave a shout out to us, and let's give a shout out to them on tonight. Kapow, those young men at Kapow, you're doing a magnificent job. Thank you for the job that you do, and I'm a ditto what you said. It's no competition here. We're just happy to be able to make a difference, and we know that you're doing the same thing. There was one question that one of those guys asked on the broadcast that where they interviewed Jeffrey Washington just, I think, this week or last week. And the question was, it was posed to me concerning you, Bishop. You know what they said? I had no comeback. I had no response. I really didn't.
Well, you might not need to do it on air then.
No, this is what they said. This is what they said. They said, Pastor Z, how come Bishop T is a bishop and you still a pastor? I thought that was funny. You didn't think that was funny? They was really trying to make it look like you was bigger than I, which you actually is. But I want to say what's up to those guys down there, Kapow. Keep up the great work.
I have
Bishop T, I enjoyed your Bible study last night. It was great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Keep up the great work.
Thank you. I saw that you were there. I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming by to check on us last night. You know, we're still trying to get this virtual thing down.
Yeah.
But I saw you.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you stopping by. You know, that's what we have to do.
Got to support each other.
Nothing
that's
wrong
right. With that. Nothing. That's right. I lose nothing by supporting you. Amen.
Exactly. And it's just good that to have that and know that you can look out and you see your fellow yokemen of the gospel that are, because here it is, it's not about competition. We all are seeking the same thing, that is to see lost souls saved, to see people come to Christ, live better lives, and live their lives to the fullest, maximizing their potential. So I appreciate you stopping by and sharing with us. I really do. I really do.
No problemo. Is that a word? If it wasn't, it is now. All right. What's your shirt say? Stay
chill.
Stay chill. Hey, I like that.
Stay chill.
Don't let nothing move you. Be unmoved. Yay. All right, everybody, share. We're glad all of you are coming in. Tonight we have a special guest. He's Gaston Atala on. Mr. BeJay Charles is going to be with us on tonight, and we're looking forward to having the conversation about his new ministry. And so tonight our topic is going to be the next generation now, millennials and worship. Minister BeJay Child, lead facilitator, Next Generation Christian Fellowship. We're going to see what that's all about. And if you're interested and would like to join, we definitely want you to join. What's up, Dana J, my baby brother, joining us on YouTube. Talk back to us. We'll give you opportunity to comment and ask questions throughout the broadcast. Yes, throughout the broadcast.
How many people do we have so far?
We have 29 on right now. We have 2 on the conference call. So we are out there.
And we need all 29 of you to hit the share button. This is a episode, show, conversation that I feel will be interesting. I feel we will leave even richer and with more understanding than before. So we need all 29 of you, do us a favor, hit the share button now. Hit the share button. I think we look at numbers different. It's not about just saying you had this number, that number, because you want to have all these large numbers, but you want people to learn from what you're talking about. You really want your message to get out. And I think that that's top priority for us, is that I think we have some good information, and basically we want everybody to to get the knowledge, and to definitely to millennials tonight who are on here to get the opportunity. If you don't know Minister BeJay, that you can meet him, and his ministry may be just a place for you to take part, and so we're gonna get some understanding tonight. So we need all of you to share.
Got to get some understanding. We're excited about this show tonight. I got my mud, and I'm ready to go.
Let's go.
And it's black and it's smoking. So let's get it. If you're ready, we're ready. Let's
go. Real Talk disclaimer. The information provided by the host on this platform is for education and awareness purposes only. All information provided on this platform is provided in good faith. We make no representation or warranty of any kind, express or implied, regarding the accuracy, validity, and reliability of information shared by the host or show guests. The views and opinions of guests on the show do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the host of Real Talk. Under no circumstances do the host, show guests, sponsors, or affiliates assume responsibility for the actions of any viewer.
Okay, Bishop T.
Okay, we are excited tonight to bring to our platform a young man who I've had the privilege of knowing for quite some time, and I know most of us may know him. He wears a two or three couple few hats, and so let's welcome to Real Talk for the first time none other than, and I told him I was going to be formal tonight, Minister BeJay Childs, lead facilitator of Next Generation Christian Fellowship. As he comes to the platform tonight, come on, let's put some hearts up for him. Let's put some hearts up for him as he comes to the platform tonight. Minister BeJay.
What's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm well. Welcome to Real Talk with
Welcome, Doc. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Pastor Z and Bishop T. let me make some other folk happy with Bishop Z and Bishop.
I'm good. I'm good.
But nevertheless, we're glad to have you on the show tonight. Glad to have you with us. We are excited about the conversation tonight, and just excited to have you with us. We want you to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know you are a musician, you are a sound tech, you are a minister of the Word of God. So many hats that you wear, husband, father, all of that in one. So give us a little bit about yourself, and then tell us how Next Generation Christian Fellowship came to be, if you will, sir.
All right. Of course, I am everything that you said. So, musician. I'm trying to kind of get out of that vein right there. I'm trying to retire from being
worship leader.
Listen, yeah. That's the new season I'm in.
Worship leader.
But yeah,
okay.
Musician, worship leader. I've started, probably been preaching not quite a year yet. So that's kind of new. But yeah, everybody pretty much, knows that side of me. They don't know this side of me. But as far as Next Generation is concerned, I believe it was birthed out of a need for a safe place for millennials to gather, right? Pretty much seeing and being around some of my peers, friends, co-workers, and hearing with another set of ears the need for us to have a safe space to express ourselves and understand each other, free of judgment. All right. I want to create a space where people can come and almost say anything they need to say without us looking at them, how we would in church culture. So that's pretty much where Next Generation came to be. That's pretty much what it's birthed from.
Okay. So I heard you say is the need.
Mm-hmm.
Is that need just from the perspective of millennials and what you were hearing,
Mm-hmm.
or you how do I say this? You grew up. Did you grow up Pentecostal?
Holiness. Yeah.
Holiness. You grew up holiness. And I know that you served a number of years with UCC under Apostle Wright, and you served some other places. So you grew up holiness, and you were in ministry, serving as musician under some non-denominational or ministries. The need, is that from the perspective of the millennial, or did you see, whether from the churches that you were employed by or served with, did you see a need from what you were seeing in those ministries as it relates to millennials?
Both. All right. I saw it in ministry, and I see it on my job. So it's not what I'm trying to create here is not something that's just for church culture. You understand what I'm saying? It's really open to the saved and the unsaved. That's why I try to make sure it's understood that it is Christian, but it's not necessarily that feel. I want everybody to feel comfortable coming. Yeah, it's not.
You saying it's not church? It's a feel of church, but it's ministry, more ministry than church.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people get hung up on it, and that was good, Pastor Z. A lot of people get hung up on it because it's been said that I'm trying to start a church or I'm starting a ministry. And really, the heart behind Next Generation Fellowship, it's not so much church as it is the fellowship.
Yeah, right? Yeah. I'm just going to capture on that.
I want to be clear with this, because really the name would be just Next Generation Fellowship. I added Christian because I want you to know that when you come to this, our perspective or our viewpoint is going to be Christian based.
Right.
So if you got your new age, some people praying to the universe, you got your Hebrew, you got all, I want them to understand that when you come here, when you come through the doors, understand that the help you receive is going to be first Christian based.
Christian based. Okay.
So that's what it's not a church. It's nothing. I know I put a lot of emphasis on the first Sunday Empowerment Series, which is a service that we do. But it's not so much about that service as much as it is for the other stuff that I do.
So let me ask you this, Chris, not Chris, but BJ. I'm gonna make a statement, then I'm gonna ask you a question.
Okay.
I know you're trying to get away from the music ministry, and I've been seeing lately a lot of people who started out as a music minister that did all the rehearsals and played for all the different churches and have done it for so many years. Since we started this show, I've heard of several people just burnt out from it, and they're getting to the point where their life and what God is doing with them has taken them down a whole different road. Can I ask you a question? I know you saying you're trying to get away from it, but have you trained and taught someone else to kind of carry that torch? Because one thing I know is there is a lack of musicians in this area. Now, in some areas, you got them on every corner. I can go to Mount Lebanon, and everybody at Mount Lebanon know how to play an instrument. So I've always, where I was at the ministry at Mount Morning Star and at Mount Zion, always got musicians or try to get musicians to teach other people, all the people they wanted to teach in the church, how to play the instruments. Because I think that's a passion for someone else would love to carry on, even though you really is burnt out from it. And I can understand you getting burnt out or feeling led to do something else in your life. As great as you are, Bishop T, as great as she is, that's not something that she wants to remain defined by. There's other things that she feel led, and y'all are feeling led by the Spirit to do more of, and that's ministry. So have you been training anyone to carry that torch, or do you see where there's not interest, people not interested in it, and you tried to pass it on? Just a quick question, and then I'm gonna hit something else with you.
Absolutely. The answer to that question is both. I have had some people that I tried to pour into, and for the most part they're receptive, but I believe the interest is not as strong as it was when I was coming up. A lot of times musicians, and I'm not sure about Bishop Tanya, maybe it's the same for her, but a lot of us had to start playing out of necessity. Does that make sense? I started playing keys and drums and all these instruments. Well, I played drums as a kid. They said I was beating on pots and pans at 10 months, but I think every kid do that. But anyway, listen, I started playing keys out of need. I was doing it at the Holiness Church and then Mount Zion. I remember I was at Mount Zion of Tyler for over 10 years, I believe. And they didn't have a musician. So out of the need for me to go play, that's what kind of matured me as a musician. But now with other musicians seeing us already on keys, it's somebody already doing it. I don't really have to. Now, if that position was vacant, then somebody may say, you know what, service, I may go up there and try to sit at the piano while they sing and figure some stuff out. But if your music ministry already hitting, a lot of times people just want to enjoy it. And if they do want to learn something, they just learn a little bit. And then you got the people that say, well, I don't want to come behind you. I don't want to play behind you. You know, it's intimidating, but it's a mixture.
So this is what I want to ask about your fellowship. And I think that's a great name of your ministry, fellowship, because you're inviting people to come in, and you said any encouragement or any advice is going to be Christian based. So are you welcoming people of all faith and cultures to come to the fellowship, and you just strictly using, as we would say, if we was in the church, you know, you got different versions of the Bible, but everyone preferred mainly the King James Version. So are you simply saying, you know, even though you maybe have some Hebrew Israelites, some people of all kind that come in there, if there's going to be anything discussed or anything taught, it's going to be Christian based? Are that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
I'm not sure. Okay.
Absolutely. Listen, everybody's welcome. Everybody, you can, whatever you believe in, I'm cool with it. As long as you know that when you come here, this is not up for debate.
Okay.
I need you to have an understanding that when you come, this is concrete. It's not up for debate. If that's your belief system, I'm cool with it. You can believe whatever you want to believe, but you're not going to change my mind where I stand.
And so are they allowed to try to change others at the fellowship? So what if they say, well, we want to break off in a little group over here, and I know Minister BeJay don't want to talk about it over there, so y'all come over here, but they at your fellowship and they want to talk about their religion or what they believe. That's not allowed, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't take place in our assembly, in our gathering. Absolutely. But if y'all want to meet, go out to eat after the service or whatever's over with, then have at it. But no, you're not going to interrupt what we got going to impose a different belief system. Now, I believe that a lot of times, even though people have different belief systems as far as their faith is concerned, there is still some sound wisdom and advice that we can get from a human being, period.
Right.
That's why I'm open to other people coming. But now if we're talking about faith and religion, it's Christian. That's all I got.
Can you explain these flyers we're posting now?
Absolutely. That right there is the discussion flyer. That's the meat of what Next Generation is about. We have these open forums that I host on the third Sundays. And it's just pretty much a safe place for us to come and discuss real life issues. I've done a session called Overcoming the Power of Negative Words. And it was really good, you know, just kind of dealing with some things that we possibly have heard throughout our lives, coming up in our childhood. You know, a lot of times you hear people say, you know, I had folk when I was younger tell me I wasn't never going to amount to anything. You ain't never going to graduate. You ain't never going to be nothing. You know what I'm saying? Overcoming the power of negative words, trying to move past those things that have been said to us. Y'all know a lot of times we hear that stuff and we grab it and we create a false reality with it. And that, just because somebody said it to you don't mean that you got to receive it. You understand what I'm saying? It don't mean that you got to build on that. It just means that's what they said. But we got to overcome those negative words. I done another one, Pastor Z. It was called It's in Your Mind. All right? Did one called It's in Your Mind, just overcoming your own thought process. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, overcoming your own thought process. And I think you put one up. What was the other?
This one right here?
That's the one we do on first Sundays.
Okay.
That's the service. We do that every first Sunday.
Okay. Now, what about this one right here?
That one is brand new. That one will start next Thursday. That's Flip the Script. That's going to be our Bible study.
Flip the script. Hey, man.
That's gonna be
Hey,
flip the script.
I know you got millenniums coming, but what about a 52-year-old man going on 53? Can I just
Yeah,
come? I just like to fellowship with y'all. Just see what it's about.
absolutely, absolutely, man.
I, I, I
I'm
think
cool
you're
with
doing
it.
a great thing, man. I like it.
I'm
It's
cool with it.
different, and I like it.
Yes, sir. I'm cool with it. Come on.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, BJ. Let me ask you this. As it relates to the millennia, this is one thing that I do, because I've watched some of your services, not actually live, but gone back.
Yeah.
There's the dress is relaxed, the music is different, even the atmosphere. It doesn't really have the feel of church, as far as the looks and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Here is something that concerns me, and I'd like to get your take on it.
Okay.
As we sit today, most of us slowly going back into in-person worship.
Mm-hmm.
But we do not, I don't think that period, whether it's our religious systems, our medical systems, our education system, the banking system, I don't think any of our systems are going to go back to what we knew, let's say 3 years ago.
Absolutely.
I think that we have a new normal in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
I do have concern if the church will make that transition.
Okay.
Okay. So in that concern, I don't just have that concern because I feel like the church is stubborn and we always fall behind. But if we look in our congregations, if we look in the pews, if you go from generation to generation, say like my generation, Pastor Hubb's generation, we are what they called the Buster generation. The Buster generation. Our parents would have been boomers, or either the silent generation, and then after the Buster generation, you have the millennial generation.
Okay.
From your perspective and take, in 10 years, let's say 10 years, it may be slim to none to see a silent generation person in worship, maybe even a boomer. So most of our congregations will be made up of busters and millennials and this next generation that's coming on. What, from your perspective, do you think the church needs to do as far as our worship style, or the worship style, the way church is done? We already know COVID has forced us to do some things differently as it relates to going virtual. But from your perspective and your take, because you started a fellowship based on what millennials were saying and what you saw in the church, what would be your suggestion for us to transition as to the age that's actually before us? Because the silent generation is not many of them in worship now. Mm-hmm. And when you look at 10 years from now, those that are boomers, they're going to be moving to that silent generation age. Mm-hmm. It's likely they won't be in the pew. Mm-hmm. So what would your suggestion be? What would you think as far as it relates to the church transitioning for that day?
That is listen, this is really good. That's a loaded question, so you got to let me unpack.
I'll let you unpack it.
Listen, the first thing is this right here. Hence the name of the ministry that God gave me. First thing is, my generation has to understand that we are literally next. That's the key right there. You got to understand that. I always give this analogy anytime I'm doing, I like to do it in my Bible study classes, but I always, especially when I'm talking to church kids, if you will, my generation that grew up in church, Pastor Z, I always use the analogy of, y'all know how we have the church potluck, we have the dinner after service and all that kind of stuff. Y'all know we used to do that before COVID. I'm glad we don't do it no more, but listen what I'm saying. We had the church potluck or whatever. I asked them, even though we're up in age now, I'm over 30, I said, how many times have y'all heard it announced that we're going to have a potluck at church? And how many dishes did y'all bring? Did y'all ever bring a dish? Now, the problem is we always showed up to eat. But we never brought a dish. So what happens when the senior saints get to where they want to have a church potluck and, hey, they can't make it no more. Or all the kitchen workers have now gone on to be with the Lord, and now we need somebody to cook, and all you got is the millennials sitting there.
Y'all gonna be going into the store picking up stuff to bring.
But now you follow what I'm saying? That's a real issue. So we got to understand that, the generation that's before us, listen, they're not always going to be here. They're not always going to be there to bail us out. We're not going to always be able to lean and depend on them. At some point, but they're going to have to be able to trust us to carry it out. Now, that's the first part. The second part is this right here. We need leaders in church that understand that in order for this ministry to go further, I have to trust the people that are coming behind me. I got to find somebody, just like you said, Pastor Andre, you got to have somebody that's coming behind you that you can train, that you can pour into. Not only that, you got to be willing to make the transition while you're still alive so that you can see them transition and take over what you built and help them along the way. The problem is a lot of times older or senior saints, I like to call them, they get territorial. I've been the pastor at this church for 50 years and I'm on die pastoring. Well, you don't need to die pastoring. You need to see your successor try to, so you can give them, when you see the stumbling blocks in the road, you can give them your wisdom. That's how you really manage your success or, judge your success, is being able to see what you've built and somebody be able to take that on. But we don't see ministry like that. It's very rarely do we see somebody really carry out a good succession plan. You got the usher, the person over the usher board is, I don't want to use the word old, but y'all understand what I'm saying. The junior ushers, we see people, they be 30, 35 years old, we still call them junior ushers. They're not junior ushers. They're not junior ushers. The deacon board, everybody on the deacon board over 50 and 60. Is there not one millennial that you see something in that you can encourage? Come on to the deacon board. Come on, I see something in you. You understand what I'm saying? But these are conversations that church, Bishop Latham, these are conversations that we need to have.
And it's certainly true that and you said it right. They become territorial and they become intimidated by the younger people that's coming behind them. My dad always had a saying, if you got to always remind the people that you're the pastor, who are you trying to convince? Them or yourself?
Or yourself, right.
My dad always had that saying. He says, you don't have to remind folks you the pastor. Everybody know who the pastor is. He taught us that. And I think a lot of times with the church is that and a lot of times with the older ministers, the reason why a lot of the older ministers does not move on is because, and I heard Pastor McFarland out of I think he's at St. Petersburg. He made mention of this in a convention that they can't afford to retire.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Now, most of your churches in other cities have set up retirement for preachers. But the salary, once they get to an older age, they can't afford to give it up. And so that's why it's very important that those people that are in ministry understand what ministry mind is and take care of the person you have now, set them up right now, so that when it's time for them to go, there'll be no hesitance or threat that he'll lose the things that he have because he's not receiving the salary or whatever that he once was given. And I know a lot of people say, oh, you shouldn't be preaching for money, all this and all that. But you gave him something.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? As a salary. And the Bible, we ain't gonna get into Bible stuff, but the Bible tells you that. And I tell people all the time, a church reputation is determined on how they treat their pastor.
Absolutely.
You know, folks don't want to go after a church and you don't abuse your pastor. Who's hunting to come and pastor that church unless they just hungry for a church?
Right.
But I like what you're doing because it gives everybody a place. The fellowship is what I love that about the name of your ministry, the fellowship, because it simply says, and I was finna say this, Bishop, it's a lot like what we're doing right here with this show. It's a lot like what we're doing with this show. We're ministers, but we don't make this show about ministry. We don't make this show about Bible study. We don't make this show just always talking about, you know, God, the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. We're dealing with real issues that people face every day. And that's what Jesus did. He dealt with a real issue. He came down and dealt with people right where they are. When he sat down with people and began to eat without washing his hand, the people started to wonder, now, what kind of man is this who won't even wash his hand before he eat? And he heard what they thought. He said, it ain't what go in that cause your heart to filter, but it's what come out of your mouth comes from the heart. And so we understand. I understand exactly where you're going with this and what you're doing with it. And it's well needed. And I wish you great success, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's one thing you said I wanted to go back and get when you were talking about succession and pastors not being able to retire due to, you know, them being cut financially. I think that's a mutual understanding that, number one, the church has to have, that pastor has to have, and the next has to have. Now, don't wait until the successor needs the job, in a sense. You understand what I'm saying? A lot of times you have pastors who are bivocational. I understand that. You know, they got a job here and then they're pastoring. Your successor needs to understand that if your pastor that's fixing to retire or fixing to, you know, transition on, you got to be understanding of the fact that, hey, I'm not going to come in making what they make. I don't expect that because, number one, they still here. You understand? That's an understanding that you have to have. And me personally, if I was somebody's successor, I would want to take over your church after you pass. I want to be able to have conversations with you about your unruly members.
Right.
You know, but you understand what I'm saying?
Well, I understand.
But you understand what I'm saying? I want to be able to talk to you, call you, and be like, hey, this is going on. How did you deal with this? How did you manage to, you know, get this far in your ministry before you transition so that I can come in and have something solid to stand on? But I wouldn't expect to come in and take your whole salary when you're still here. Right. But that's an understanding the church, the pastor, and the successor needs to have.
Right, right.
I think one of the saddest things and while we're talking, I think one of the saddest things to me while we're talking about successors and all of that is that a lot of pastors, the church membership, and sometimes the church ends up dying with that pastor.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because by the time that pastor, really they get to a point where they just can't do anymore.
Yeah.
And by the time they get to that point, the ministry is at that point too. People have gone or they left or whatever. And I think that that's the sad part about that. What would be, and that I wanted to make that statement. What can we do? If you were sitting in front now of a panel of pastors, what would you suggest that three things, if you can come up with three, and I'm sure you can, that could be done to make their ministries more inviting, conducive for millennials, where they feel free to worship without judgment.
Absolutely. I think, that's loaded too. One thing is, and y'all don't hate me when I say this, I think some of our services just need to be updated. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of times they say, I've heard people say, it shouldn't take gimmicks and all that kind of stuff to win people, because if you start it, you got to keep doing it. But Bishop, you've already said at one time, one of the issues that I have as a millennial, and this is not everybody, because I'm mature enough to go to church and get the word, but some of us are more visual, depending on how you learn, you need other stuff. So the first thing I'm going to say is some of our churches just need to be updated.
Right.
Just, it's something basic. We change our furniture in our houses. We get new TV. Listen, America, whoever made us update our TV. You can't even watch TV unless you got a flat screen. All them fat backs. They made us do it.
All them fat backs.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
And you saying that, look, BeJay, you saying that about the TV, but let's just say screens at large.
Absolutely.
Right now, you see a screen at school. You're on a screen at work.
Thank you.
Your phone, the millennials, even the next generation, they have these screens. Then when you come to church, there's no screen.
Nothing. And you know what? And it's not about the screen, but it's the fact that society seems to be moving at a faster pace than the church. Now, I understand that those of us who are mature in the faith, we understand that spiritually we're moving. We're moving way faster than society, but at the same time, those who are not as far along as we are, they're like, I come in here, I feel like I went back about 4 or 5 years. And that's not okay. I had one church that we used to frequent. Every time I walked in that church, I feel like I went back. I'm serious, about 10, 15 years. Every time. Soon as you walk in the door, it's like, okay, this is like that 70s show that used to come on TV. It's bad. And I'm saying, at what point do we, listen, y'all know, y'all eat the plain potato chips, Doritos, whatever. Y'all know how many times they done redid that bag? But it's the same chip.
Yeah.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? It ain't so much that you changing the word or trying, none of that. But every now and again, you got to update that package.
Right.
It can look the same for 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Drink cans don't look the same. Your Pepsi bottle don't look the same. Nothing is that. But
when they go back to the beginning can or to the can of the 80s or 90s, is to commemorate what they've done
and watch
or
this.
what they have.
And the old can is still new to the ones that had never seen it. You understand? So they know it's just a cycle. There's nothing new under the sun. So if you go back and get a can that our grandmama and them seen, it's still new to me. So that's still an update. Are you following what I'm saying? And then the people who saw it 20, 30 years ago, they probably already gone. Even Coca-Cola is now, or was a couple of years ago, going back to a vintage can. But the vintage can was new to me because I didn't see it when my grandmama saw it. Now you understand what I'm saying? They're constantly marketing to get this thing where it needs to be, and they're probably using the same ingredients. It's just a package.
Now let me stop you right there, but I want you to give your other 2 points. You said a key word because most pastors today are either of the Buster generation, Boomer generation, and some are still from the Silent generation. Not many of them understand there is a need to market.
Absolutely.
I think that's one of the things. You're saying upgrade, but you said a key word then. The first thing I've heard people say, that doesn't have anything to do with Christ. That doesn't have anything to do with God. Yeah. But marketing is a major tool for seeing the growth of a ministry. Absolutely. And I know we pulled you off a little bit, but what's your other 2 things?
So the other thing I was going to say was in our service in general, another thing is a lot of times, and I hate to get on this, I really do because I don't want y'all to look at me crazy, but a lot of times the mode of service or the mode of worship for millennials, y'all, and I don't want to use y'all, let me say.
You saying y'all, you talking about Pastor
No.
He older than I am.
I'm trying to choose my words. You understand what I'm saying? But listen, seriously, a lot of times we didn't come up on Shirley Caesar, and we didn't, and I ain't saying nothing wrong with Shirley. Y'all know I'm a musician, so I don't have to play all of it. But we didn't come up on Walter Hawkins, Shirley Caesar, and all of these people. And a lot of times when we go into these services, we're hearing that type of stuff. And then, and I hate that, y'all, we had some millennial conversations, so here it is. A lot of times we're looked down on because we don't know y'all's music. And y'all get upset because we want to hear Todd Delaney. Well, I don't know Todd Delaney. Who is Albertina Walker?
Yeah.
You understand? Who in the realm is the Cat and Spirituals? We want to hear, you understand? We want to hear Manly music, Isaac Kareem. We want to hear something else. You understand what I'm saying? Y'all trying to play.
Gotcha.
And I ain't saying nothing's wrong with Walter Hawkins, but I'm saying bringing a balance. That's my point. Bringing a balance to our worship services. Right. I know the service we just had on the first Sunday, we did a lot of songs we do. Ain't nobody gonna know no way. But I went back and got Brenda by Milton Brunson. Y'all remember Over and Over. He keeps on blessing me. We done that one Sunday in a room full of millennials. You understand what I'm saying? But I think just bringing that balance to your service, doing some old, doing some new, so you can hit everybody. Yes. But we don't want to come in there, Amazing Grace, the whole service. Well, I think do Amazing Grace because people need to hear. Listen, we got to be able to do. Anytime you do a ministry, you got to be skilled. You understand what I'm saying? If you're a pastor or you're a minister in general, even when you're preaching a sermon, you got to be able to fix that sermon to where for some people it's steak and for others it's milk. Y'all follow in the same sermon.
Yes, sir.
And if the church is not trying to function at that same way, trying to reach the young and the old in the same service, that you can't cater to one generation.
That is correct. That is correct, BeJay. I said something when I had a minister music when I first got here to Mount Zion. Mm-hmm. And I know that they was used to singing the older songs. And I brought a minister music with me. And every minister music that I have brought, I've shared these with them. I want you to sing some of the new songs. I don't mind you singing some of the old songs. But if you're going to sing, first of all. Don't drag the songs. Don't be just singing the old songs and you ain't got no spirit in it.
Absolutely.
But if you're going to sing, I want you to sing some of the newer songs like Tasha Cobb and like you said, Ty Tribbett and stuff like that. And you did a workshop. Y'all have done workshops for my choir. But I've asked them to do that because I know I got an old soul. So before I get up, I got the mothers of the church.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take them to church when I get up. Don't worry about them, because when I get up, we're going to go old school.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But I want everybody to enjoy the service. That's why I wanted the choir. But then you have people in the choir grumbling, like you said, because they didn't want to do the newer stuff. They want to stick with a whole choir trying to do quartet songs. And when the musicians are not strong enough to control that as a minister of music, instead of them turning the wheel with the choir have him or her doing what they want to do, and it never changes.
Absolutely.
It never changes.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we as leaders have to do is, especially, I was the young in Mount Zion, everybody in the choir was older than me. I was a kid. But we have to encourage those people to think about their grandkids, Pastor Hub. You got to think about your grandkids ain't listening to quartet like that. You know what I'm saying? Dude. And if you want your, we talk about people, our whole family is being saved. If you really want your grandchildren to come in, you got to prepare something for them to come. Don't just come to church and you get God, you go to heaven and then you don't even consider the people that's coming behind you. They're not walking around your house. They listening to secular music. So at some point, you got to see, okay, if this is how they learn, or if this is what they enjoy, I got to figure out how to get their attention. You understand what I'm saying? So if I got to do a little Ty Tribbett, or if I got to get a little gospel rapper to come in every now and again to reach those people, then old people, y'all just got to be patient. We're going to get, like you said, we're going to have our moment in the service. Go ahead, let's get these. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it makes perfect sense. But again, that's just pretty much having a conversation or getting that understanding amongst everybody.
Yeah.
The thing that I think that we don't understand just in sitting here listening to us talk even now, we're making those changes everywhere. We are submitting to change everywhere but the church. You just said grandparents, your grandchildren don't listen to the same music. But watch this. Grandparents today, in order to communicate with their grandchildren and great grandchildren, guess what they have to learn to do? Text.
Oh yeah.
Because you can call these millennials and this just younger generation. They don't want to talk on the phone. They rather text you. If you text them, they'll respond. If you call them, it's like you ain't calling nobody.
Absolutely.
We are making those changes. We're transitioning in other areas, but for the church, we'll call it satanic. We'll call it evil. We'll call it everything but a move of God. When He even says in His Word, "I'm doing a new thing."
A new thing.
And so I don't know why we have so much drawback, and I think that's the exciting thing about you and next generation. And I know you're saying that you all are the next generation, but that next generation is so close to now.
It is now.
It is now.
You know,
it's
because even with the pandemic, you know. I hope that every pastor, every leader will reconsider when things get to the point to where people, and it may be what it is now, till another 20, 30, another 100 years or whatever. But I hope that we'll be open to continue to build on the virtual space, the cyber space, and not especially, well, I won't say that we'll continue to build on that space and continue to just embrace the change, the paradigm shift that we're experiencing today. I hope we will build on that and not just keep saying this is not, because Pastor Huff, when I won't call the name of the church, but when it's the big church now everywhere, if you see there are people out serving and they have volunteers on the back of their shirts and everything, when they have one pastor, but they have the different churches set up everywhere, and the pastor preaches through satellite.
Right.
And there was so much negative feedback, especially from the African American church, about that. I don't want to hear no sermon.
Well, I know exactly what you're saying, but let me tell you why you probably got some feedback from some of your African American churches, because it was an all-white ministry that some of our people left the ministries that they were connected to and went to it, and they went running around bragging and boasting by how great that is over there, and how bad it was where they was at. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so first of all, you ain't gotta promote something by putting something else down. Okay.
Right.
Number two, if we did it here, you have something to grumble about here. Why is it that they milk is always better than our milk? You see what I'm saying? And that's the thing with us saying we love what Pastor BeJay is doing with the fellowship, because we're supporting you. We love what you're doing with the fellowship, because it's something that is lacking in all of our churches. Like you said, sometimes the seniors get intimidated by the younger people because they're able to do a little bit more, and it reminds them of what they used to do, and they can't do what they used to do no more. Instead of them being that particular tree that allow themselves to lean on the younger person.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And train and teach them. and love to see it grow up in them so that they can carry on and be glad that they have a God on their side.
Absolutely.
They run them from the church.
Yep.
Now, if they was in the streets, you got something to say about them there.
Yep.
But some of us push them in the street because we're so judgmental. You know, I remember when I was coming, I never will forget my grandmother. I went over to my grandmother's house. I was pastoring, and I went over to my grandmother's house, and I had some shorts on. And my grandmama said, "You a preacher? What you doing with some shorts on?"
Yep.
I said, "You just mad because your bow-legged, fleet-footed pastor can't wear shorts." It was a joke. And she was crazy about her pastor.
Yeah.
But what I was simply saying is we stereotype people and we say what they can and they cannot do. And we're so judgmental that we push people away from fellowships. People need to be able to go. And I'm glad, BeJay, I promise you, I'm glad and excited about what you're doing because, man, I need to know. I got 5 children. I want them to know they got somewhere they can go to be with people their own age and be able to open up and know there's some positive things taking place without any type of motives just to get them over there. It ain't us hooking up doing ungodly things,
right?
But it's a fellowship where we can connect with each other, be open and transparent, and also leave that fellowship not feeling alone and able to be a better person when I leave there. Because some people feel like they in this world alone. Nobody understands me. Nobody understands me. Nobody can relate to it. So I'm to myself. When you start getting to yourself, and we had someone on the other day, last week, I believe, a week before last, that was dealing with mental states. People don't know who to turn to, who they can talk to, who they can trust, and they can discover in this fellowship, you know, I can share, and I have people here that I'm sharing with that really cares.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So lead facilitator, let me ask you this. So are you telling me in Next Generation Fellowship that Panera or some coffee shop, Starbucks, will be the place of the next potluck?
Listen, you know, I think
you hear what I'm saying, though. You hear, I'm saying that way, but you hear the question.
Are we saying the next generation don't know how to boil water? Is that what we're saying? I mean, they don't know how. I mean, there's some things they need to learn from grandma before she go now.
Listen. Some of them good recipes going in the ground. I hate it too.
Hey, listen.
But the real truth is, I do believe that the way ministry or church or fellowship is headed, everything's not going to happen in the church building. I believe that's what you're saying. But everything is not going to happen.
Not even a worship service.
Oh no, it's not. It's not going to be a worship. That's why I only do the worship service once a month. You know, the meat of Next Generation is not a worship. That's why I be wanting.
Right.
The only reason I'm doing a worship service is number one, because one of my fears is that church service is going to be extinct. Like you said, if we don't some kind of way get millennials actually back in church, we won't have no church in 20 years. Well, this won't be now for my kid.
Well, I think I agree with what you're saying, but I also feel like I think it'll be there. I don't think it'll be there. The emphasis will be on in person.
I see. That's what confuses me because, and this just makes it go a whole other direction. But I believe that in person is important. The Bible says forsake not. You understand what I'm saying? I think it's something that happens when we come together in the same space, in the same room. And it's not even always so much spiritual. Every now and again, I just want to see your face and know you're good. We get on these phones and we text, and but you read a text message in your own mind. They can say, "Hey, how you doing?" And you read and say, "Hey, how you doing?" They didn't even say it like that. That's how
with attitude.
That's how you took it. That ain't what they said. But because you were having a moment, you misread their message. But if I can see your face when I'm talking to you, you understand what I'm saying? Sometimes that's what church is about. I ain't seen sister such and such in a while. Let me hug your neck. I want to make sure you're good, brother such and such. sometimes it's about that fellowship.
Right.
But we can't forsake that.
Let me ask one more thing while we're at that point. Question. Okay. Do you feel that the time, the length, let me say it that way, of our services is important? Do you think that sometimes, because let me say from my generation standpoint.
Oh yeah.
Let me say from my generation standpoint, you can say, I always felt like church was long if nothing was happening. Then I'd be like, God, you held hostage. But if the spirit was high, then you'll turn around at the end of the service, you'll be like, I didn't even know all this time passed by, because we were having such a good time.
Yeah.
But do you feel that the length of church, because some of our worship experiences do have a lot of unnecessary stuff going on. Yeah. So from a millennial standpoint, do you think that's going to be a factor for the millennial worshiper as well?
Absolutely. Now, let me say this. Again, you got millennials who are on different levels, so we can't really generalize ministry in that sense, because some of us will really just come for the word, and some of us come for praise and worship. You see the difference? Mm-hmm. Some of us will go to church late and still sit through the sermon. Some of us will come for praise and worship and leave before the word.
Yeah.
But in that sense, I was having a conversation with a lady who's much older than I am. And she said she doesn't mind going to church late because all she wants is the word. And she said a lot of times before she get there, is so much that happens before the sermon happens. By the time the preacher get up, she'd be like, I had to regroup and get my mind back prepared, whatever. But I think it just varies. Some of our services are too long because it ain't nothing in them. Pastor Z said it a minute ago. If you singing songs and ain't nothing in it, you just up
why are you singing the extended version?
Man,
listen. I had to tell one musician I said, why do y'all keep dragging that song out and it ain't doing nothing for you?
Yeah.
And you just gonna drag it out. Know how to cut it short and go to something else.
Yeah. If it ain't blessing you, it ain't gonna bless the people.
Come on now.
But now let me say this. Sometimes I have gone back and I've gone to some traditional like Baptist churches, and you saying something. Now for me, for the millennial, they might be sitting there saying, I don't even know what they're saying. Mm-hmm. But for me, as a buster, you get to that traditional church and they really know how to pitch that hymn or really know how. And I know he's not on here today, but I remember something Dion I may have been a funeral service Dion was getting ready for. I didn't get offended because I knew where he was coming from. And one of the songs was They Got the Word.
Okay.
And he was like, I gotta get somebody, Bishop, that's gonna be able to do They Got the Word, because these millennials, and I don't know if you were at that rehearsal, and he was asking us for that full choir song, that sound, that traditional sound, because you can go back and pull a traditional song, but you got to show enough.
Yeah,
like Pastor Huff, he said when he got the mothers, when he gets up, he's not going to just be almost singing those traditional songs.
Oh, yeah.
He's going to sing them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'm going to feel it. If I, listen, and Bishop T done played for me before. If I'm singing a song and I ain't feeling it, it's going to be a short one. It's going to be a short one. If it ain't moving me, I'm cutting it short. Hey, I'll throw the fingers up in a minute. That means it's time to cut it off.
But you know what? This has been such a good conversation. I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes when I'm sitting in church, church is not what it used to be. Because you had the old mother that would just holler out while the preacher was preaching. Folks would just cut loose and shout, throw stuff at the preacher, and it's like a different, same God, same message. The Holy Spirit is still moving and touching people. But one thing, that great grandmama ain't there to holler out no more.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think we have to start focusing on when we market and when we prepare again. Because I said this to somebody, to another pastor just the other day. One thing, we don't prepare. We don't prepare for the worship experience.
Absolutely.
You know, so
and you know, my mother. You were saying about when this is over with. My mother, right now, ever since the pandemic and everything, she is on Facebook Live. I'm gonna say that again. My mama is on Facebook Live right now watching this show. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
My mama is on Facebook like nobody. I mean, we are there watching stuff on the TV. She had a remote, got the TV on something, and that doggone phone loud as I don't know what. She on Facebook. What you doing, mama? I'm on Facebook. So you know, and here's the thing. I remember going to a convention, and in that convention, this young guy got up. He said that he was actually called to a church during the pandemic. The church was vacant, and the pandemic hit, and they voted him in as the pastor. And at that point in time, he hadn't been able to meet with his whole membership, just met with the deacons. Here's what he said, and I'm gonna try to say it as quick as I can. He took the scripture about the lad. He said, now, when they said search the crowd, and whatever you find, bring it to me. They found a lad with 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. So when he brought it to Jesus, here's the thing that he used for an example. The very thing that our young millenniums have in their hand that we used to tell them, put that up.
We need
it. You hear what I'm saying? Is what we have to use now in order to survive this pandemic.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
And now watch this. The lad, they had to use the lad lunch in order to survive in the desert.
Wow. Okay.
Now watch this. Where we used to let the kid go sit whatever or tell them to put that up. Now the elders or the older people in the church is having the millenniums to come sit by them to show them how to work what they had in their hand. You see what I'm saying? So now they can enjoy the worship service in the 21st century.
Absolutely.
See what I'm saying? So what we used to shun them and get on them about, put up and do this and don't have that, and even had signs at our doors saying you can't take your phones, put your phones up. You know, you can't have your phones out. Now we got them out and we're using it in order to survive what we're going through. And because it has been incorporated now, we need it in order to continue.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the things about that I realized before the pandemic with the phone is people and their Bibles. Everybody ain't walking with the paper Bible no more.
Oh, no, nobody has one.
You know what I'm saying? I see, even, you know, we get up. How many funerals have you done or been to, or just Pastor Hub or asked to do a scripture? Minister BeJay, you know, you ask the scripture, you don't take your Bible, you be like on your phone, getting your scripture together, what you gonna do? Yeah.
See, I'm a little different. When we had Apostle Wright some years ago put me over teaching the 19 through 30 class at UCC. And in that class, I don't want to use the word mandatory, but I told them, when y'all come to this class, bring your physical Bible. Because one thing I noticed with the older generation, y'all know, if somebody said turn to Malachi, y'all be like, whoop. You know what I mean? We be like this.
Gotta go to the front.
Right. Then they flip all the way back. And now you gotta read. Then you don't go to Revelation. You be all in the front. But we don't know where it's at. But I'm like, if we're gonna do Bible study, let's just go ahead and do what we need to do so we can be comfortable with the actual book. But
you know why we know? You know why we know where the books are the Bible? Because in Vacation Bible School, that was one of the requirements. Genesis, Exodus, you had to learn those books of the Bible.
It's the truth.
Do they still do Vacation Bible School?
They haven't done it in a while. And a lot of people had got to the point that they stop it in their church because they said it was like a daycare service. People drop them off just for the church to watch their kids. You know, I'm just saying, I've heard that before. I heard that before. And then they start getting to the point where some of the churches start combining. It was close to each other, and they would try to do the Vacation Bible School, just like we do the BTU Congress. Now, the BTU Congress have fell off greatly.
Oh, really?
You know, Tanya, when we came up,
that it was BTU Congress. You got
it wasn't no if and buts about it.
You got out of school and went straight to BTU Congress. But even when we were growing up, as far as Vacation Bible School, you had to go to your church Vacation Bible School, the church down the street, the church over town. That was your summer Vacation Bible School.
Oh, yeah.
And the trips that they took. We all going late with a bazooka.
That's it.
Yeah. But not run up on the church that's going to take us to Six Flags. Everybody was at that Vacation Bible.
Everybody.
Yeah.
We have with us on tonight none other than the lead facilitator of Next Generation Christian Fellowship. We've learned so much from Minister BeJay Charles. Listen, here are some of the events that he have. Every third Sunday at 5 p.m. He's at New Covenant Church, 303 South 11th Street, Gadsden, Alabama, 35901. Every third Sunday is the discussion open forum for millennials. He said, you join us. We will discuss real life issues concerning the millennials generation. The discussion is a safe place to open up and share how you really feel. Not only do we have something going on the third Sunday, but here you have something going on April the 3rd at 5 p.m. The first Sunday is called Empowerment Series, Worship Gathering for All Ages. Same location, New Covenant Church, 303 South 11th Street, Gadsden, Alabama, 35903. You can be in person. Also, as a peer day, it's going to be on Facebook Live as well. And then flip the script, journey through scriptures. It's going to be an interactive Bible study every fourth Thursday at 8 p.m. with Mr. BeJay Charles, lead facilitator, Next Generation Fellowship, and that's going to be live via Zoom. And he will provide, I'm sure, that information. Do you have a Facebook page?
Yes, Next Generation Fellowship.
Next Generation Fellowship, y'all. Go to that page. And will you put the Zoom information on that page for them to be able to? Awesome.
Absolutely.
Amen. I got a lot of people in here. Your wife saying, let's go. New Generation Fellowship. Yeah, we got people in Atlanta. I saw someone, I think it was Anthony Smith, said he was joining us from Cali, California. So we're glad to have all of you on with us. Anything else you want to share with us, Minister BeJay, concerning what you have going on, the times, the location, phone numbers, anything that you want to share with us?
I'm good. Just if y'all know anybody, number one, on the first Sundays, it's open to anybody. You said you wanted to come through. You come through on the first Sundays. Third Sunday, that's just for millennials. Yeah.
I'll shave.
When we have,
I'll shave and put my hat on back.
We coming anyway.
Now listen, when we have our open forum, that's just for us. You know.
I know why too. Because you think I'm going. I know they mom and daddies, and I'm gonna tell you.
Listen, that's just for us. But now
I got
Sunday,
you.
that's for
I got you.
We're bridging the gap on first Sundays. That's
okay.
Everybody.
I like that.
I'm glad you said that. I think that it's going to take more forums like this and just different generations sitting down, having the conversation, communicating to bridge the gap.
Absolutely.
So that we all can enjoy our worship experience.
Absolutely.
I got a question for you, brother BeJay. Now, now a lot of people really don't know BeJay, and a lot of them got to know you tonight on this show. The heart that you have and the seriousness behind ministry. Now, one thing I heard, and you tell me if it's true, I heard you were just as serious as a musician. Now here's why. Listen, I heard that you used to be the minister of music at a church where you had family members in the choir.
Yeah.
And nobody was off limit from being corrected.
Mm-mm.
And said that apparently you played tennis because you would keep tennis balls by you. And if they would hit the wrong note, you would throw tennis balls at them. Is that true? I just want to know.
No, I ain't threw no tennis ball at nobody. I did take tennis lessons, but I ain't threw no tennis ball. But now I remember one time, let me say this, then we will. Listen, we were singing, and this lady had her words in front of her. Bishop, you know, we don't listen. Listen, don't miss nothing. Don't miss nothing. Right, because I don't even give out words. So we like this. So she sang up, we sang it. I was actually directing at this rehearsal. So we sang it or whatever, and she kept missing the interest. She kept missing cues. Y'all, before I knew it, I snatched that paper and I flung it to the back of that sanctuary. And then folks looking at me crazy. I was like, oh, Lord, BJ, you done lost it. You done lost it. But it was bad. But I done calmed down a whole lot.
Age brings about a change.
I know I wasn't as bad as Bishop Latham, though.
I heard about her too.
I know.
Minister BeJay, age brings about a change. Let me say that.
Listen.
Who was it? Was it Orlando Draper?
Okay.
Do you even know Orlando Draper?
Yeah.
Okay. That was fussing with the choir, something with the choir. He fell dead with a heart attack.
For real, that happened?
He had a heart attack. I think that's who it was.
Why fussing with the choir?
I think so. Don't quote me on that. But hey,
George
now
said,
you see that right there, George Hughley.
He said,
George is still.
Oh, I know George.
He's
George
still
bad.
on the time. BeJay, the worst thing that I did was, because I was known to throw a hymn book or whatever.
Oh, you were throwing stuff too.
But I remember we were getting ready for the 100 Voice Black History Choir.
Okay.
And we were doing When Sunday Comes by Darren Coley. I'm gonna take a trip. When Sunday comes,
my troubles take a trip on the good old gospel ship.
I think it was Rita Harrod that did that, and then I'm gonna take a trip on the good old gospel ship that turned in trouble in my way. Evangelist Hope was doing that.
Sailing through.
Yeah, we did some other song, but I remember the guy. I don't even remember. I think his last name was Adams or something.
Okay,
like he was from Anniston. And you know, on that When Sunday Comes, that verse part is just really, and the musician has to really accompany the vocalist. Yeah, and so the person to get closest to that would have been the Harrod twins. I can't even remember now which one it was, but they were killing it. Yeah. I don't know where the musician was or what he was doing. All I know is I just fell out in the middle of the floor. I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Time brings about a change. Do you understand? Time brings about a change.
Wow.
Y'all do it the best you can, honey.
Y'all
listen, that's how I feel. Hey, now I'll be like, say whatever you want. You pick your own note.
y'all was pulling the Matty Moss Clark, wasn't
you? Bishop, I just let them say whatever that. Is that what you want to say? It sounds good to me. It sounds good to me.
Hey, BeJay, if it sounds good to you,
y'all ain't right.
Well, y'all crazy.
Y'all ain't right.
Y'all ain't right. Hey, didn't I say, don't tell them I taught you this, though. Don't tell them
Yeah. Hey, you know we ain't let them have it way, though.
Just don't tell them I taught it to you. You say whatever you want to. Don't tell them I taught you. Please.
Lord but we have really enjoyed, man, having you on. Bishop T. Actually, when she first heard about you having this fellowship, was trying to get you on because she was excited to hear what we was doing with the millenniums and the direction that your fellowship is going. And we're so glad we was able to get you on to share this information. and we just going to be praying for you, man. And don't be surprised. I'll pop up in there now.
We're gonna pop up on the third Sunday.
Come on.
We're not coming on the first Sunday. We want to hear all the good stuff.
I may have to I'll bring my camcorder just to record some of the first Sunday when I do come, when you allow the seniors to come. I will bring my camcorder so we can show some of the clips right here on Real Talk, just to let people know how things are going and how wonderful it is.
Okay.
I'm proud of you, man, of the work that you're doing, and man, and I want everybody to really be in prayer and supportive of what you're doing, because our young people, I have 5 children, and my kids could very well be coming over there. And I have no problem with that, because I know what you have going on, and they need that outlet sometimes. Children don't always stay up under their parents as a pastor. Right. They have to spread their wings and fly. And sometimes where we can't reach them, somebody else can.
Absolutely.
So thank you, man, for hearing God and being led by the Spirit to do something that is a necessity everywhere. And I pray it catch on like wildfire.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, and God's blessings on your fellowship. You and I have some inside jokes that we laugh about and everything. So I'm thinking about one now, but I dare not. But it's been awesome having you on. I'm glad we got the opportunity to have you come and share. And God's blessings upon you and Next Generation Fellowship.
Appreciate that. Thank y'all for having me.
Thank you.
You're welcome, man. You have a wonderful night, man, and God bless you, brother.
All right, bless you.
All right, take care.
All right.
Listen, Bishop, before we go, I know we haven't had a COVID update in a couple of weeks because the numbers have really dwindled down, and where even though they're dwindled down, I've been hearing, and I know that you've been kind of keeping up with the news as well, that there's a lot of cases in China and in Europe that, and they're expecting the cases to rise up. So where we think that this thing is all over, we don't know if it'll reach back into the United States. I do want to encourage everyone to be careful. Don't assume that this can't spike again. And we kind of relaxed our mask mandate here at the church. But looking at CNN on today and hearing the information that I've heard, I think we may need to return back. We didn't know when it hit gas than the last time. All of a sudden, we just knew that a lot of people had flu-like symptoms. So just keep your eyes on the news. And this weather, you snow one day, and then it's like you're on the beach the next day. We don't. Right. This weather is crazy. So protect yourself at all times. I really enjoyed this show, Bishop. I really did.
It was awesome. It was good. It was interesting to hear him and to hear that he's not just pro millennial. He understands that there is a balance, that there is a balance there. So it really was a good show. I want to take just a couple of minutes to address something, and hopefully I will address it in a way that people hear my heart. And you didn't know that I was going to address this, but to those people, to those of you who are viewing, I want to apologize to you if you were offended or felt some kind of way as a result of our show on last week. And Pastor Huff, you made reference to the fact that though we have differences of opinion, and pretty much what people see here is kind of the way we are. George came on tonight, and George will tell you, George and I can go toe to toe, head to head, or whatever, but it just means that we say we gotta say, and we can agree to disagree.
Right.
But for those people who were offended or felt some kind of way, let me apologize for that. If you were offended by my actions or my comments or how I interacted with Pastor Z, and even the next day we were at it about it or whatever, but we do that and we laugh.
And we like brothers and sisters. That's what we family. We don't fall out. We may disagree, but
And so I wanted to apologize for those who may get offended, but I also want to say this as a result of that. I think that's the awesome thing about our God, is that he made us all different.
Right.
And I know sometimes in a little small town like Gaston, we get accustomed to feeling like everybody's alike and everybody should be doing what everybody else is doing and having the same opinion as everybody else. But anybody who knows me knows that's not me. That's not me. And I really don't like to be around anybody that feels like their opinion has to be everybody's opinion. I feel like God has given us a uniqueness, and we should do that. But I do realize that somebody may have become offended at where we were, but we were fine. And even if Pastor Huff and I do get upset, we say we got to stay mad 2 or 3 seconds. He might stay mad 5 or 6 seconds. But we said it, we did it, and we move on. But please, the viewers who are here, some may go back and say, I hope you were not offended to the point or to the magnitude that you don't want to watch the show anymore, because truly that's not the intent. But I really just wanted to say that he gave a disclaimer after he was so rough with me. He gave a disclaimer, but let me say this: I will not give disclaimers because I'm going to state my opinion and keep loving Pastor Huff and everybody else.
It's real talk. That's the name of the show. It's real talk.
Exactly.
And we do this a lot. There's some things we agree on. There are some things that we disagree on. We don't see the same. And that's the nature of life.
That's it. That's life.
And we're transparent on this show. I actually had received a text when we first started, and they saw it going south, and they were like, there they go. And they was like, get off. Y'all just need to get off. And I told them, don't ever send me nothing like that when I'm on the show, because that even made me even madder.
So all of that hostility went toward your co-host.
What about it?
All of that hostility you had wasn't toward the
co-host. It kind of built. It made it even worse.
It was like the end of the day, the camel's back.
At the end of the day, we still had a show to continue.
Right.
And we wasn't going to end on a bad note. I know that. But you had a point, I had a point, and it got to a point where we was trying to prove our point. And of course you had a little help. And I haven't seen them tonight. Tell them they can come back and they ain't got to be scared to talk tonight.
But you know what? I have heard some people say they really don't care what we're talking about. They just tune in to see how foolish you're going to act with me.
They told you that?
Yeah. See how foolish you're going to act
let me
with me.
Let me make sure I heard you correctly.
You heard me.
They tuned in.
They tuned in
to see
how
foolish Pastor Z, act with Bishop T.
Exactly.
Okay. You don't happen to have a number to them, do you?
Mm-mm.
Okay. All right.
Like my great niece said, it be lots of people.
Okay.
Lots of people.
Well, just know this. Anybody that, and a lot of people don't know me because they take me so serious. I love to laugh. I love to have fun. A lot of times I'm not serious. Sometimes I may make little wise jokes and look serious, but I'm not serious. But I love to have fun. You know, I don't cry enough. Haven't you?
Yes. You know, and there are gonna be some days that we're going to cry, but my ultimate goal today is to just live in peace.
Right.
How do the peace sign? Peace.
Yeah, peace. Elder Parker says she's in I can't see if it's is that a female or male? I can't tell. But Elder Parker is in South Carolina.
Rodney Parker was on tonight, and he's in Washington. So we had
really
out of state.
Live in peace. Yeah.
Thank you. That's it. And when you disturb that peace, I have to move because it can be toxic, and that's just as detrimental to your health as cancer, high blood pressure, diabetes, and the rest of it. So
okay, that's a male. I'm sorry, Elder Parker. I apologize. I couldn't see your picture.
Elder Parker, that's you know who that is. You couldn't see his picture, good, but you know who it is. Is that come on, Tanya? He used to be from a talent. Was he from? Help me, Elder Parker. Tell me.
That ain't Reverend James.
Yeah.
He done changed his name on Facebook. Oh man.
He said Elder Parker.
Right.
Elder. He's
Elder.
giving you Charlie Parker brother.
So it was James. It was
right.
He done changed his name. That's why I didn't recognize who it was.
Yeah, it used to be I guess he has his ministry, Elder.
Okay. I apologize there, brother. Minister James Parker. Thank you for coming on, my friend. Always he joins us on our prayer line as well. So thank God for all of you. And we really enjoyed the show on tonight. We pray and hope that you enjoyed it as well. We look forward, Bishop. We have someone that will be coming on our show on March the 31st, I believe. And I'll share that with you later on. So that particular show will have someone to join us there. But we do want all of you to share our Real Talk page and feel free at any time to let people know we come on Thursdays at 6:15 and we're here to make a difference. Again, check out Minister BeJay Childs and the new fellowship that he has going on. You would definitely, you millenniums, you have somewhere to go. Don't ever say you don't have anywhere to go. Thank you all for enjoying the show and being a part of our show. Bishop T.
It's been great.
It's been great.
Show. Thank you all. Y'all have a wonderful rest of your week.
Good night, everyone.